Imagine a night where silence itself becomes the killer. In 1986, near a remote, seemingly peaceful lake, entire communities vanished between dusk and dawn. No fire, no flood, no earthquake, just an eerie, unnatural stillness, and over 1,700 lives inexplicably extinguished, along with thousands of animals. What invisible force emerged from the calm waters to claim so many, leaving behind a valley of death? The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. A gentle breeze rustled through the trees, carrying the scent of wood smoke and freshly tilled earth. In the villages surrounding Lake Nyos, life moved at a leisurely pace. Children played in the fading light, their laughter echoing through the air. Women prepared evening meals, their families gathering around open fires. Men returned from their fields, their faces etched with the day's labor but content with the fruits of their toil. The air was thick with the promise of a peaceful night's sleep. Lake Nyos, nestled among the volcanic hills of Cameroon, held a place of reverence in the lives of the villagers. Its placid waters, reflecting the ever-changing sky, provided sustenance and lifeblood to the communities that dotted its shores. Cattle grazed on its banks, their bells tinkling softly in the evening air. Fishermen mended their nets, preparing for the next day's catch. As darkness fell, a blanket of stars emerged, twinkling like diamonds scattered across the velvet canvas of the night. It was a scene of idyllic tranquility, a testament to the enduring rhythm of life in this remote corner of Africa. Little did the villagers know that beneath the serene facade of the lake, a silent and deadly force was stirring. Lake Nyos was more than just a body of water to the people who lived near its shores. It was a lifeline, a source of sustenance, and an integral part of their daily existence. For generations, the lake had provided food, water, and a sense of place to the communities that had sprung up around it. The lake's waters teemed with fish, a vital source of protein for the villagers. Tilapia, catfish, and other species were caught using traditional methods, their silver scales glinting in the sun as they were hauled ashore. These catches were shared among families and sold at local markets, contributing to the livelihoods of many. Beyond fishing, the fertile volcanic soil surrounding Lake Nyos was ideal for agriculture. The lake's waters, rich in minerals, nourished the crops that were cultivated on its banks. Maize, beans, plantains, and other staples thrived in the volcanic soil, providing sustenance and income for the villagers. The lake also held cultural significance for the local communities. Traditional beliefs and folklore were intertwined with its existence. Stories of spirits and mythical creatures residing within its depths were passed down through generations, instilling a sense of awe and respect for the lake's power. The sun rose on August 21, 1986, casting its golden rays over the tranquil landscape surrounding Lake Nyos. But something was amiss. The usual sounds of village life, the laughter of children, the crowing of roosters, the chatter of families were eerily absent. An unsettling silence hung heavy in the air. As the sun climbed higher, casting its warm light across the countryside, a group of men from a neighboring village set out on their usual trek to the shores of Lake Nyos. They were on their way to trade goods with the communities that lived near the lake, a journey they had made countless times before. As they approached the villages, a scene of unimaginable horror unfolded before their eyes. Cattle lay dead in the fields, their bodies contorted and lifeless. Birds lay scattered on the ground, their wings outstretched as if frozen in mid-flight. And the villagers, hundreds of them, lay scattered in the streets and in their homes, their faces frozen in expressions of terror and despair. Panic seized the men. They had stumbled upon a tragedy of unimaginable proportions, a silent killer that had swept through the villages, leaving behind a trail of death and devastation. Word of the disaster spread like wildfire, reaching the outside world and sending shockwaves of disbelief and horror across the globe. What had transpired at Lake Nyos was not a volcanic eruption, a fire, or a violent storm. The killer was invisible, odorless, and silent, leaving no trace of its deadly passage except for the victims it left behind. The culprit, as scientists would later discover, was carbon dioxide, a gas vital to life but deadly in high concentrations. On that fateful night, a massive cloud of carbon dioxide, heavier than air, had silently erupted from the depths of Lake Nyos. This invisible cloud, estimated to contain millions of tons of the deadly gas, swept across the surrounding countryside at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour, suffocating everything in its path. Carbon dioxide, while essential for life in small quantities, is lethal at high concentrations. It displaces oxygen in the air and in the lungs, leading to rapid asphyxiation. The victims, caught unaware in their homes and in the streets, had no chance to escape the silent killer that enveloped them. The gas, being heavier than air, flowed down hillsides and into valleys, seeking out lower elevations. This explained the patterns of death observed by rescuers. Entire families wiped out in their homes, while others on higher ground survived the invisible onslaught. Amidst the unimaginable tragedy, there were whispers of survival, tales of miraculous escapes and narrow brushes with death. Joseph Nquain, a young boy at the time, recounted waking up with a strange feeling in the air. It was as if someone was pressing down on his chest, making it difficult to breathe. He stumbled outside, his vision blurred, his lungs screaming for air. He saw his family lying lifeless on the ground, their faces contorted in agony. He tried to wake them, to shake them back to life, but it was no use. The life had been choked out of them. Another survivor, a farmer named Ephraim Chi, described a similar experience. He had been tending to his cattle when he felt a sudden wave of dizziness wash over him. His legs buckled, and he collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. He managed to crawl to higher ground where the air was less dense, and watched in horror as his neighbors succumbed to the invisible killer. These survivors, their lives spared by a twist of fate or by their location on higher ground, provided crucial eyewitness accounts to scientists who descended upon the scene, eager to unravel the mystery of the silent killer. Their stories, while harrowing, offered glimpses of hope and resilience amidst the unimaginable tragedy. The world watched in horror as news of the Lake Nyos disaster reached international headlines. Scientists, baffled by the scale and nature of the tragedy, descended upon the remote region, determined to unravel the mystery of the silent killer. Initial theories ranged from a volcanic eruption to a chemical weapons attack. However, the absence of volcanic activity, seismic tremors, or any trace of toxic substances quickly ruled out these possibilities. The search for the culprit led scientists to the depths of Lake Nyos itself. Using sophisticated equipment, they discovered that the lake held a deadly secret. Its bottom layers were saturated with carbon dioxide. This gas, a product of volcanic activity deep beneath the lake bed, had been silently accumulating for decades, trapped by the immense pressure of the water above. Further investigation revealed that a landslide or a sudden change in water temperature had likely triggered a massive release of this trapped gas. Like a shaken bottle of soda, the lake had suddenly erupted, spewing millions of tons of carbon dioxide into the surrounding atmosphere. The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. It was a phenomenon known as a limnic eruption, a rare but deadly natural disaster that had never been witnessed on this scale before. The race was now on to find a way to prevent such a tragedy from ever happening again. Lake Nyos, a serene body of water nestled amidst the volcanic hills of Cameroon, harbored a deadly secret beneath its tranquil surface. The lake, formed within a volcanic crater, acted as a giant reservoir, slowly accumulating vast quantities of carbon dioxide gas seeping from the Earth's mantle. The lake's unique structure played a crucial role in this deadly accumulation. Unlike most lakes which undergo seasonal mixing of their waters, Lake Nyos remained stratified, with distinct layers of water that rarely mixed. The bottom layer, rich in dissolved minerals and carbon dioxide, remained isolated from the surface, allowing the gas to build up over time. This accumulation continued for decades, like a ticking time bomb, until a trigger event upset the delicate balance. Scientists believe that a landslide, an earthquake, or even a period of unusually cold weather could have disturbed the lake's stratification, causing the gas-rich bottom layer to rise rapidly to the surface. As the pressure on the dissolved carbon dioxide decreased, the gas rapidly came out of solution, forming a massive cloud that erupted from the lake's surface. This deadly cloud, heavier than air, flowed down the slopes of the surrounding hills, engulfing villages and suffocating everything in its path. The Lake Nyos disaster, while shocking in its scale and ferocity, was not entirely without precedent. Just 2 years earlier, in 1984, a similar but smaller-scale event had occurred at Lake Manoon, also in Cameroon. Lake Manoon, located just 60 miles southeast of Lake Nyos, had released a cloud of carbon dioxide, killing 37 people. At the time, the cause of the disaster remained a mystery, with theories ranging from a terrorist attack to a secret government experiment. However, in the wake of the Lake Nyos disaster, scientists began to connect the dots. Both lakes were situated in volcanic regions, and both exhibited similar characteristics: deep, stratified waters with high levels of dissolved carbon dioxide. The Lake Manoun event, while tragic, had served as a warning, a harbinger of the much larger disaster that was to unfold at Lake Nyos. Unfortunately, the warning went unheeded, and the world watched in horror as history repeated itself, this time with far more devastating consequences. The Lake Nyos disaster sent shockwaves of horror and disbelief across the globe. The world's attention focused on this remote corner of Cameroon as the scale of the tragedy unfolded. The international community responded with an outpouring of aid and support, providing medical supplies, food, and shelter to the survivors. But beyond the immediate humanitarian response, the disaster also sparked a wave of scientific curiosity and a determination to prevent such a tragedy from ever happening again. Scientists from around the world converged on Lake Nyos, eager to study the phenomenon of limnic eruptions and to find ways to mitigate the risks posed by other similar lakes. The disaster highlighted the importance of understanding and monitoring natural hazards, particularly in regions prone to volcanic activity. It also underscored the need for international collaboration in addressing these challenges, as the risks posed by such events transcended national borders. The world had been awakened to a hidden danger, a silent killer lurking beneath the surface of seemingly tranquil lakes. The challenge now was to find a way to disarm this hidden threat, and to ensure the safety of the communities living in the shadow of these ticking time bombs. In the aftermath of the Lake Nyos disaster, scientists and engineers faced a daunting challenge: how to prevent a repeat of the tragedy. The solution, they realized, lay in finding a way to safely release the accumulated carbon dioxide from the lake's depths. After years of research and testing, a solution emerged: a degassing system that would act like a giant straw, slowly releasing the carbon dioxide from the lake's bottom layers. The system, installed in 2001, consisted of a pipe extending from the lake bed to the surface, where the gas was allowed to escape into the atmosphere in a controlled manner. The degassing process, while effective, is a slow and ongoing endeavor. It requires constant monitoring and maintenance to ensure its efficacy and to prevent a dangerous buildup of gas. Despite the challenges, the degassing system has significantly reduced the risk of another limnic eruption at Lake Nyos. In addition to degassing, early warning systems have been installed around the lake to alert nearby communities in the event of any unusual gas releases. These systems, consisting of sensors that detect changes in carbon dioxide levels, provide crucial time for evacuation, should the need arise. The taming of Lake Nyos is a testament to human ingenuity and international collaboration. It is a story of hope and resilience, a demonstration of our capacity to understand and mitigate natural hazards, even in the face of unimaginable tragedy. The tragedy of Lake Nyos serves as a stark reminder of the hidden dangers that lurk beneath the surface of our planet. It highlights the power of nature and the importance of respecting its often unpredictable forces. While the disaster was a tragedy of immense proportions, it also spurred a wave of scientific inquiry and innovation, leading to a deeper understanding of limnic eruptions and the development of effective mitigation strategies. The lessons learned from Lake Nyos have been applied to other lakes around the world, helping to protect communities living in the shadow of similar threats. The story of Lake Nyos is a testament to the importance of scientific research, international cooperation, and the need for continued vigilance in the face of natural hazards. It is a reminder that while we cannot control nature, we can strive to understand its complexities and to mitigate the risks posed by its most destructive forces. As we move forward, it is essential to remember the victims of Lake Nyos and to honor their memory by continuing to invest in research, education, and preparedness. By doing so, we can help to ensure that such a tragedy never happens again.